Thanks to the radio-controlled 4-engine drones, it is now possible to capture the most improbable and impressive sequences. But on this video, we have reserved for you images that sometimes go beyond understanding, and that will leave you completely speechless. For example, how would you like to see a Peregrine Falcon attack transformed for the occasion into a real air raid worthy of the Second World War? And what would you think if we showed you some very angry kangaroos or alligators or whales that were a little too affectionate? Well, don't wait to imagine all these scenes, because you'll just have to watch the video until the end to see and understand everything. Let's go! In Australia, it is indeed the kangaroo who sets the rules of the game, and beware if you don't follow them to the letter. And the first commandment on the list of these giant marsupials is to never encroach on their territories at the risk of being trampled to death. Yes, you can't really joke with this kind of wild animals, and don't let their innocent look fool you, because they will certainly not miss the opportunity to attack you if you have the misfortune to cross their path in the wild. But if you still believe that they are just cute and harmless little herbivores, the sequence might make you change your mind. Captured by the camera of an amateur drone, these impressive images show us crazy kangaroos which attack very violently the drone, which they probably took for a bird of prey. As you can see, these marsupials know very well how to defend themselves, and their hind legs attacks are well worthy of a professional savate fight. In the fields of rescue and first aid, the use of drones has become a great asset during search operations for survivors. Previously, people who were lost in the middle of nowhere following a crash or any other accident had very little chance of being found, especially when the search areas covered hundreds of square kilometers. The aerial means available to the rescuers at that time were not very sufficient, since they were limited to 1 or 2 small reconnaissance planes and a few patrol helicopters. These aircraft were also limited by their tank capacity, which considerably reduced the search area. Fortunately, today we can rely on drones, which are able to fly over large areas of territory without needing to refuel or return to base, thanks to their incredible flight autonomy. On these thermal camera images, you can see the rescue of an injured young woman lying unconscious on an embankment near the road. Thanks to the infrared radiation emitted by the heat of her body, this young woman could be seen by the pilot of the drone, who immediately transmitted her position to his colleagues. They quickly rushed to the scene and were able to save this unfortunate victim from certain death. Here is now, and without any exaggeration, one of the most intriguing and strange sequences ever filmed by a drone. The surreal scene, to say the least, took place somewhere above an unidentified forest, probably in North America, considering the species of trees that appear on the video. Focus your eyes on the center of the image and look carefully at the trees that are in this aerial. Did you see that? Yes, these trees seem to move by themselves, exactly as if they were moved by a supernatural energy of their own. Could they be Middle-earth ants that we see moving around in the middle of this little wood? Or maybe they are just signs of the passage of a forest giant. Probably an ogre, or a Bigfoot perhaps. In any case, a creature big enough to be able to uproot such gigantic trees. Well, the answer to this question is not really the one you imagined, because it is in fact only a simple bulldozer of lumberjacks, which is clearing a piece of land. So your imagination played tricks on you in this case, proving that you should never rush into the most absurd clues when the answer is as clear as day. Nowadays, we can observe everything with the help of drones, which are increasingly smaller and much more manageable than earlier versions. Thanks to these small radio-controlled machines, it has become possible to capture the most unusual and sensational images without even moving from your seat. You can even make a small visit to a haunted tunnel, just to test the credibility of the place and to know if there are bad spirits there or not. On this fantastic sequence, you will discover one of the most haunted places on the planet. And it is an old railway tunnel with a very troubled and heavy past. Your drone accelerates its quad engines, and here you are exploring the mythical and terrifying Red Bank Range Railway Tunnel. Located in the city of Picton, Australia, this now disused structure has indeed been the scene of several killings and suicides in the past, and many residents believe that it harbors an evil presence within it. In any case, you do not risk anything because it is your drone which makes the exploration in your place, while you are quietly sitting on a deck chair, sipping a good cold pina colada. Now let's go to a reptilian sequence, which comes straight from the brackish waters of the Louisiana bayous. This is the territory of the mighty alligators of North America, where they live happily and peacefully. And we can tell you one thing, it's that they certainly don't like to be disturbed in their tranquility, as you will see on this incredible sequence. The images come from a GoPro camera installed on a 4-engine drone, and whose 4 propellers cause a hell of a noise. Nothing is more annoying indeed than this ugly buzzing that rises crescendo and that spins your eardrums in no time. Just look at this huge alligator that is sticking its head out of the water to find out where the hell this Tahubohu comes from. The huge reptile, which must be about 5 or 6 meters long and weighed 500 kilograms, did not appreciate that we disturbed his nap. You can see in his eyes that he is not happy at all, and especially very frustrated not to reach this bird of misfortune, because he would have liked to be able to crunch it. Thrill seekers will love this sequence, but beware of seasickness. These impressive images were captured, hold on to your hat, in the middle of a Category 5 cyclone on a scale that counts 5, thanks to a camera on board a floating drone. This tropical cyclone is one of the most powerful, raising waves of more than 15 meters high and blowing winds of almost 200 kilometers per hour. In such conditions, even an aircraft carrier could take the risk of capsizing, and it is enough to see the incredible power of the waves to be convinced. However, a very small marine drone of only a few centimeters was enough to not only resist the storm, but also to film a scene that nobody would have been able to see otherwise. Indeed, you will not find any crazy person unconscious enough to enter the eye of the storm, and it is thus thanks to this small and almost insignificant drone that you can admire such images today. Thanks to the drones, we can film everything, so we film everything and anything, and very often it's more nonsense than anything else. But I assure you that on this sequence you will see a very improbable and crazy scene. Our drone is flying over a beautiful forest of fir trees dressed in their winter coat, slaloming in the air and between the trees and filming this beautiful frozen landscape in full HD. But wait, what do we see there? Yes, it's a hiker in a blue jacket, or a jogger rather, since he is literally running like crazy. But why on earth is he sprinting like that as if he had the devil and all the fires of hell at his heels? Oh no, look at the big grizzly bear chasing him with its claws out, hoping to make him its 4 o'clock snack. Well, what more can I say, since the scene speaks for itself? Except maybe some encouragement to the poor sprinter. Run, Forrest, run! There's nothing better to do when you are bored than to fly your quadcopter drone over the city, just to relax a little while watching people stressing in your place. Of course, you can just as well film the monuments of the place or make a small escapade above the zoo or the nearest park, although between us, it is not as enjoyable. But anyway, you have to be very careful, because if you think that your little drone bought at AliExpress is the only master of the air, you are very wrong. So don't do like the owner of this drone who had an encounter he didn't expect at all. On these exciting pictures, we can see the live attack of a peregrine falcon, which will not leave any chance to the poor drone. You can see the powerful bird of prey circling in the air around the little quadcopter before making a dazzling dive attack and planting its terrible claws in the plastic frame of the poor aerial vehicle. This one falls on the ground completely destroyed, and only the GoPro camera will have resisted to this air raid worthy of Top Gun. Here is another amazing sequence filmed by a drone, this time over a beautiful calm sea with a superb emerald hue. You can see on the sublime images a gigantic whale playing with surfers who are doing paddleboard. The enormous cetacean floats peacefully around the paddleboarder, pushing it lightly with its body and almost nibbling it, exactly as if it were a nice affectionate doggy used to caresses. The whale will continue to play with the paddleboarder, who was still amazed to make such an encounter. Suddenly, another whale joins this little merry-go-round, as if marine mammals knew that the more, the merrier. The couple of whales will finally get tired of this little game, and the two gigantic companions will then leave as they came, peacefully and without the slightest trace of animosity. It is certainly not very rare to see such behavior from marine mammals, which are often used to establish contact with divers or boat crews. But you must admit that these fantastic images could never have been filmed without the precious help of drones and their onboard cameras. And to finish this thrilling video on a nice touch of humor, we have concocted a sequence that is at least completely hilarious. Thanks to the radio-controlled drones that are nowadays abundant on commercial websites, all kinds of perverts can have a good look and play voyeur without even moving from their sofas. In this completely hilarious sequence, you will witness a very strange ride on a beautiful beach, somewhere on the Californian coast. The images captured by this 4-engine drone shows us a small group of young women in bikinis quietly basking in the sun. But no way to sunbathe peacefully, it seems, because the young women have noticed this unwanted intruder who comes to break their peace with a thunderous roar of its 4 propellers. The young woman, who certainly did not want to be filmed without their knowledge, then decided to bombard the drone with all that could fall to them under the hand. They then started to throw seaweed and small pieces of wood to it. Well, not much. And in any case, not things that could do much harm in case of collision. Now, tell us in the comments what you think of these incredible sequences filmed by a drone, and which remind us that sometimes reality is far more than fiction. Don't forget to subscribe and click here to watch another of our videos.